Hey folks, welcome back. Everybody and their cousin owns an AR-15 these days. It's the go-to rifle for everything from plinking cans to home defense, and no doubt, it's earned that spot. But let's be honest, ain't you at least a little curious what else is out there? Something that hits a little harder, runs a little cleaner, or just plain feels more fun to run? In this video, we're looking at 7 rifles that, depending on who you ask, might just beat out the good old AR. We'll cover bullpups from Steyr, yep, that's pronounced Steyr and IWI. We'll dig into a piston-driven carbine from CZ that shoots like an AR built by somebody who actually listens to end users. And we'll take a hard look at FN's top-tier battle rifle, the kind built for special forces and priced like it. If you're leaning more Cold War classic, we've got a 308 from PTR that runs on roller delay and chews through cheap surplus mags like a deer through apples. After that, we'll check out a monolithic brute from Palmetto State and a legal gray zone marvel from Franklin Armory, both breaking the mold in ways that'll make you take a second look. So if you've ever thought maybe the AR-15 ain't the end-all of rifle design, hang tight. Your next favorite rifle might be waiting just down the trail. CZ Bren 2MS Carbine. Czech engineers never were the type to rest on someone else's blueprints. When their military issue, CZ 805, started feeling bulky and rough around the edges, they didn't slap on band-aids, they went back to the drawing board. What rolled out later was the Bren 2 nearly a pound lighter, swapped out big aluminum slabs for a leaner, monolithic upper, and dropped in a short-stroke piston system that runs shock and cool for a 5.56. The civilian version shows up as the Bren 2M's carbine, sporting a 16-inch cold hammer forged barrel, a non-reciprocating charging handle you can swap to either side, and a polymer lower that pops off without tools. That makes caliber or trigger swaps a one-pin job simple as it gets. Street availability's getting better these days, but the sticker still sits just north of $2,000. CZ lists the 5.56 carbine at $2,199 in 2025, and most shops price it within $100 of that mark. Under recoil, the Bren feels like an AR that's been tuned up with a slick gas block and a mass kit, but without that hot puff of carbon blowing out the charging handle gap. Mag changes follow AR muscle memory. The AMI controls actually mirror each other proper, and the folder stock adjusts through 5 length of pull spots while tucking in flat for tight spaces like riding cab over in a truck. Field cleaning is a breeze, takes half the time of a direct impingement setup since all the grit stays on the piston up front. Even the gas regulator's glove-friendly. Turn it for normal loads, click it forward 1 notch for suppressed, and you'll keep brass flying without beating up the internals. Toss a good optic up top on the full-length 1913 rail, and the Bren will hold 5-shot groups inside 1.4 MOA, with Black Hills 77 grain. TM, K's plenty tight for punching coyotes out to 400 yards. Franklin Armory RS7. Franklin Armory's made a habit of poking the regulatory bear, and the RS7 might be their boldest jab yet. A 7.5-inch barrel would usually land an AR in NFA territory, but Franklin's patented straight land rifling slides right past that. Since the bullet never spins, it ain't legally a rifle or a shotgun, it's just a firearm. The feds tried putting a stop to it back in 2019, but the court said otherwise. So now, the RS7 lists on Franklin's site for $1,179 in either 5.56 or 300 blackout. Add the optional BFS 3 binary trigger, and you're looking at about $1,270. On the bench, that short barrel prints 3-inch groups at 50 yards with 62 grain green tip, not bad consider. In the bore doesn't impart proper spin. Franklin also sells fin-stabilized ammo that flies true, though standard FMJ still groups minute of center mass at home defense distances. The forged upper and lower feel mil-spec because they are mil-spec. You can slap the RS7 upper on any AR-15 lower or file the paperwork later if you want to SBR it. Gas impulse is brisk, but the B5 Bravo stock and a good comp help tame it enough to run binary mode without losing control. Pull and release fire dumps a 30-round Lancer mag in about 3 seconds flat, which makes for a grin-filled afternoon at any carbine class. If your wallet can handle the ammo bill, shooters who hate red tape love that they can toss the RS7 behind the truck seat without worry. In most free states, it rides legal and ready. Steyr AUGA A3 M1. Austria's Army Universal Jobber first showed up on parade grounds back in 1978, looking like it walked off a sci-fi movie set. But near 50 years later, the AUG still holds its place as the standard bearer for tough, reliable bullpups. Today's U.S. models come in as the AUG A3 M1, with your choice of either a NATO mag well or Steyr's signature translucent waffle mags. New in box price runs right around $1,850 these days, ticking down slightly now that Steyr's Alabama plant is rolling out more inventory. Some folks still gripe about bullpup triggers, but Steyr's two-stage setup has come a long way. It breaks just under 6 pounds and resets clean almost like a mil-spec AR tuned up with a nickel boron kit. Since the action rides back near your ear, that 16-inch barrel gets full 5.56 velocity. But overall length stays shorter than an AR pistol with a 10-inch barrel. A quick change latch lets you pop the barrel in seconds, whether to stash it in a pack or swap to the 18 or 20-inch tubes. Steyr USA says are coming back to shelves this year. Gas system's got 3 settings, normal, adverse, and suppressed, so brass still flies clean to 2 o'clock. Even after dragging through a muddy match, the AUG barely needs cleaning till after 4,000 or 5,000 rounds. Chrome in the long stroke piston and a strong extractor claw keep it running when a D. Gun's starting to choke. With 55 grain Fiocchi FMJs, it prints steady 1 1/2 inch groups at 100 yards. But feed it 69 grain Match Kings and it'll tear ragged clover leaves tight enough to shame lightweight AR carbines. Recoil pushes straight into the shoulder pocket, and that built-in vertical grip acts like a heat sink when you're running long strings. Once you get used to rockin' mags in G3 style, back and then forward reloads become second nature. Palmetto State Armory JAKL. Palmetto State Armory built its name on budget-friendly ARs, then turned heads by dropping a piston-driven upper that bolts straight onto any mil-spec lower, no buffer tube needed. That means you can run a fold-in stock and still shoot with it folded. That idea turned into the JAKL, now sold as complete rifles in 5.56, 300 Blackout, and new this year, 308 Winchester. The 13.7-inch 5.56 version comes with a pin and welded brake to stay NF. A compliant and MSRP lands right around $1,299 though. On sale weekends, you'll sometimes find upper kits sneaking in under $1,000. The JAKL's upper ain't just beefy, it's monolithic. Handguard and receiver are milled from one solid chunk of aluminum, so optics and lasers hold zero even after hard drops that'd bend up a barrel nut system. PSA borrowed the long-stroke gas piston idea from the AKM, but tuned it up with a 4-position adjustable valve. Set position 1 for suppressed subs and 4 for when things get downright filthy. Through it all, the bolt still runs smoother than plenty of budget ARs fresh out of the box. Recoil hits with a firm first thump like you'd expect from a long stroke gun, but toss on a hydraulic buffer and follow-up shots stay well within reason. The charging handle rides up front on the left, SCAR style, so right-handed shooters can work the action without ever lifting their elbow off the magwell. Sure, mag dumps will warm up that barrel shroud in a hurry, but PSA vented the gas block cap and cut generous airflow channels along the upper to keep things running cooler. At a recent carbine course, mine pushed 1,200 rounds on gas setting 2 with no cleaning and just one soft primer failure on some sketchy steel case stuff. That kind of ruggedness eating cheap ammo while staying true to AR controls is why the JAKL's still got a 5-digit waitlist. Folks are learning real quick it ain't just another parts bin rifle. PTR A3S. Plenty of rifle folks feel the pull of Cold War iron, but start backing off when vintage HK91s creep north of $4,000 on Gunbroker. That's where PTR Industries stepped in dropping US, built clones built straight off real deal German blueprints. The current A3S wears an 18-inch tapered barrel, a welded Picatinny top rail, and the iconic paddle mag release pulled straight from the old G3 diagrams. Street pricing bounces a bit, but most fresh A3S rifles go out the door around $1,650 cheaper than most M1 rifles and a whole lot less than modern 308 ARs with comparable accuracy. Now, roller-delayed blowback ain't for the soft-shouldered. There's no gas system to bleed off pressure, so recoil hits fast and firm. Still, that straight-line stock helps keep the muzzle from riding up. Just know that 7.62 NATO ain't gonna cuddle you. Factory sights include a rotating diopter drum out back and a hooded post up front. Once zeroed in, they'll surprise you with how well they shoot. My own sample held 2-inch groups at 100 yards with 147 grain ball ammo, and tightened near minute of angle with 168 grain federal gold metal. Brass launches about 15 feet forward and to the right, fluted and dented bad enough that reloaders cuss. But everyone at the range sure takes notice. Now, you'll hear some online chatter about quality control. I've seen one with a low bolt gap that needed a shim job under warranty. But credit where due, PTR responds quick, and they cover shipping. It's just smart to give the lugs, bolt gap, and welds on the cocking tube a once-over before you lay down the plastic. The upside? Mags are dirt cheap. Surplus aluminum, G3 mags run $8 a pop. Buy 20 and toss them in a range bag, you still won't spend what a pair of SR25 pattern mags will cost you. Handling's a little different from your standard AR no bolt lock on the last round. Cocking handle rides up front on the fore end, and yes, that glorious HK slap sends the bolt flying forward. The safety's right under your thumb, and with a paddle release, you can dump mags almost as fast as on an AR-10. Some folks swap out the fixed stock for collapsible or spore-adjustable setups to tame cheek slap. But even bone stock, this rifle is a rugged, no-frills workhorse. It carries the same battlefield bones as its German ancestor and runs just as mean. FN SCAR 16 NRCH. When Special Operations Command went looking for a carbine that could run suppressed, swap barrels on the fly, and keep on ticking from Afghan sand to Filipino jungle, FN delivered the SCAR 16. Over time, that rifle evolved into today's NRCH variant, now sporting a dual-sided charging handle on a beefed-up bolt carrier, and thankfully, a whole lot less reciprocating mass hammering your thumb. FN lists the rifle at $3,839 MSRP. You'll sometimes catch deals a few hundred lower, but let's be honest, nobody's buying a SCAR because it's budget-friendly. Spend a day behind one, though, and you'll start to see where every penny goes. That short-stroke gas piston runs smoother than its long-stroke cousins and keeps your bolt and carrier shiny clean for hundreds of rounds. A 2-position gas setting helps dial in back pressure for suppressor use, and the chrome-lined, free-floated barrel pops loose with one captive torque screw let you switch between 10, 14, or 18-inch tubes right there in the field. The monolithic top rail holds 0 like a vise, even with clip-on night vision or thermal stacked up front. The polymer lower soaks up recoil nicely, and the rifle tips the scale just over 7 pounds unloaded. Controls feel familiar to AR users, but go fully ambidextrous mag release, safety, bolt catch, all ready for left or right hand work. The side-folding stock adjusts for length of pull and cheek height, hides a cleaning kit, and folds down to an overall length of 27 inches, short enough for tight spaces like helo doors or vehicle cabs. Early models had a habit of beating optics to death under recoil. FN toughened the receiver walls and tweaked the bolt carrier to fix that, and now the NRCH version handles red dot and magnifier stacks all day without losing 0. On paper, you'll see 1 1/4 MOA groups with 77 grain. OTM loads mighty respectable for a combat-grade carbine that runs just fine on bulk 5.56. Recoil pushes straight back, and that low-slung piston weight keeps the muzzle from jumping. The trigger, once a sore point, now breaks clean at 5 pounds with hardly any creep. From barrel swap versatility and left-hand friendliness to battlefield tough internals, it's easy to see why armories from France to Malaysia keep ordering the SCAR in numbers. It ain't cheap, but it's built to fight. IW1X95 Taver. The Israeli Defense Forces grew tired of Dragon M4 carbines and their floppy stocks through tight alleys and crowded stairwells. So they fielded a bullpup that kept a full-length barrel while chopping down the overall length. The result? The X95. It's the refined version of that design, and here in the States, brand new imports go for about $1,760, though OD, green, and FDE finishes sometimes cost a touch more. From the shoulder, the rifle balances right over the pistol grip, not out front like a standard AR, which makes long patrol carry a whole lot less tiring, even if it weighs the same. The Cold Hammer forged 16 and 1/2 inch barrel runs a 1-in-7 twist, ideal for stabilizing the heavy match bullets preferred by many Israeli units. Chrome lining gives you peace of mind, stretching service life beyond 20,000 rounds. The long stroke gas piston system runs on 2 settings. Leave it on position 1 for standard shooting, or flip it to 2 when running suppressed. The controls won't match your AR muscle memory, but they're clustered smart around the firing hand. The safety rotates 90 degrees under the thumb, the bolt catch rides just behind the magwell, and the mag release sits forward right where your index finger naturally lands. Once you get the manual of arms down, reloads are quicker than most bullpups since your firing hand stays glued to the grip. Flip-up iron sights fold flush into the top rail, and the front sight's got a tritium dot for just enough glow in dusk grills, no batteries needed. Side rails at 3, 6, and 9 o'clock sit under polymer covers. Pull those, and you're ready to mount lights, pads, or M-Lock inserts. The Tavor aftermarket's been strong for a while now, with plenty of upgrade paths. Ambi-use goes beyond just the safety lever. Both the charging handle and ejection port can swap sides with a bolt change so southpaws don't end up eating brass. At a recent night match, my X95 ran 300 rounds lightly oiled but not cleaned, including a dust-blind stage. It cycled 55-grain steel case like it was MK262. Groups held under 2 inches at 100 yards, plenty accurate for defensive work. In tight hallways, the X95 moves like a big handgun, muzzle never catching drywall. And you keep the velocity that shorter-barreled rifles have to give up. And that's a wrap. Which one of these rifles would you trust over your AR and why? Drop your thoughts down in the comments. We'd sure like to hear what's earning a place in your safe. If you got something out of this roundup, hit that like button, share it with your gun buddies. And don't forget to subscribe. Tap that bell icon so you're always first to know what's hitting the racks next.